In the summer of 1952, a social worker named Margaret Hensley drove her government-issued Ford down a winding dirt road deep into the Kentucky mountains. She was following up on reports that had crossed her desk 3 times, reports that kept getting buried, filed away, forgotten, reports about a family living in complete isolation, about children who looked too much alike, about a woman who had borne sons by her own brother. When Margaret finally reached the weathered cabin tucked into those shadowed hollows, what she found would haunt her for the rest of her life. She discovered Lily Mae Combs, a woman trapped in a nightmare that had consumed 3 generations of her bloodline, a woman whose story the state of Kentucky would spend decades trying to erase. Hello everyone. Before we start, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel and leave a comment with where you're from and what time you're watching. That way, YouTube will keep showing you stories just like this one. Tonight, I'm going to tell you about the most cursed daughter in Kentucky's history, a woman whose name was deliberately scrubbed from public records, whose children were scattered to the winds, whose very existence became a shameful secret that entire communities agreed to forget. This is the story of Lily Mae Combs and the bloodline that should never have been. What you're about to hear isn't just a tale of family dysfunction or mountain folklore. This is documented history that powerful people worked very hard to bury, court records that were sealed, birth certificates that were altered, entire family trees that were systematically destroyed. Because sometimes the truth is so dark, so disturbing, that society decides it's better left buried in the shadows. But shadows have a way of bleeding through. The Combs family had been living in the remote hollows of eastern Kentucky since before the Civil War. They were what the locals called ridge runners, families who carved out their existence in places so isolated that the outside world simply forgot they existed. No roads led to their settlements, no mail was delivered, no census takers bothered to count them among the living. Samuel Combs built his homestead in 1847 on a plot of land so remote that it didn't appear on any official map. He brought with him his wife Martha and their 3 children, but isolation has a way of breeding its own kind of darkness. When Martha died during a harsh winter in 1863, Samuel made a decision that would curse his bloodline for generations to come. Rather than remarry or send his daughter away, Samuel kept 15-year-old Mary Ellen close. Too close. By 1864, Mary Ellen had given birth to her first child, a son whose father's name was never recorded in any official document. The local preacher, if he knew, said nothing. The neighbors, what few there were, turned their eyes away. Mary Ellen would bear Samuel 3 more children before his death in 1878, but the pattern had been set, the bloodline already poisoned. When Mary Ellen's eldest son, Thomas, came of age, he never left the hollow, he never married outside the family. Instead, he followed the only example he had ever known. Thomas took his own sister, Rebecca, as his wife in everything but name. No ceremony was performed, no license was filed. They simply lived as husband and wife in that same isolated cabin, raising children who would never know that other families didn't live this way, children who thought it was normal for fathers and uncles to be the same person. By 1920, the Combs family tree had become so tangled, so inbred, that tracking the actual bloodlines required investigators to create special charts that would later be classified and hidden in state archives. The children born into this cursed lineage suffered from afflictions that medical professionals of the time couldn't fully understand. Mental disabilities, physical deformities, and a kind of psychological damage that seemed to pass from generation to generation like a genetic curse. And then came Lily Mae, born in 1925 to parents who were also siblings, raised in a world where the lines between family roles had been blurred beyond recognition. Lily Mae Combs entered this world on a cold October night in 1925, delivered by her own grandmother in a cabin that reeked of kerosene and desperation. From the moment she drew her first breath, she was marked by the sins of her bloodline. Her eyes were too close together, a telltale sign of the genetic damage that ran through her family like poison in a well. Growing up in the hollow, Lily Mae knew only one reality. Her father, James, was also her uncle. Her mother, Sarah, was both her parent and her cousin. The children in the cabin called each other brother and sister, but the relationships were far more complex and disturbing than those simple words could convey. By the time Lily Mae was 8 years old, she had learned to avoid her father's attention when the sun went down. She had learned to make herself small, invisible, when the adults gathered around the wood stove and passed around mason jars of corn liquor. She had learned that screaming brought no help, because in their isolation,